That's my theme song. I have a theme song. It's super exciting to me. Hello, welcome to The Come Up. I just like her a lot. I think she has an amazing outlook on everything artistic and a brain that I just love to talk to. So I'm going to bring that conversation to us all tonight. Here she is, Jamillah Hinson. Yay!
Hi,
Jamillah!
I'm so nervous being live. I'm not in the theater, Nick.
How are you?
I'm good. It feels weird that I'm in the May already.
Well, right.
Is flying by. I feel like there's this weird, like, kind of time leap where it went from just being like February to being the end of May all of a sudden.
Summer is
We're
here.
very close to being in June, which is wild to me. I feel like if we hadn't been in quarantine, it would still be like April 2nd.
I love this idea that like time would not move if we weren't in quarantine. Like we like because time has only moved in quarantine ever. Jamillah, you're from Omaha, Nebraska.
I am.
I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. We met because you worked with our friend Amanda Harris at Half Price Books. Or was our makeup class first? What's the order?
I don't remember. College blurs together heavily. I knew you when we came into stage makeup together, though.
Right.
So we must have met before that. We must have. I felt like this is someone I can sing show tunes with, and I knew that coming in.
I don't know if we would have run into each other just because we're in different art scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like we would have never had a relationship at all, because I mean, like you said, we talk about this constantly, the huge separation between visual arts. I'm going to say visual and performance arts, up against like performing and theater arts. It's like a big brick wall between the two of them, and it's really aggravating, of course, because we're all artists, but it's just something. There's in most cities, Chicago included, there's just this barrier that is really difficult to cross over. I'm happy that I sold books.
Why is there such a disconnect? But do you think it's like the form of theater, or like the systems of it, that like why those two worlds haven't collided a little bit more?
I'm not sure, and I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm lucky enough to have like a lot of friends who are doing like amazing things as performance artists. So I was like always going to like the In Progress at MCA or something like that, and it got me thinking. I'm like, this is performance. This is performing. They are putting on a show right now. So like, why don't we see theater in this kind of experimental, casual kind of way? Most of the performance artists that I know also have a visual practice, and it seems like it's just a lot more accepted to be weird and experimental when you're a visual artist who does performance as well.
That is exactly what we're learning right now, and everyone has decided to be like, we can't do our season the way we thought we could, can we? And it's like, no, and we should have been talking about that in January. I think it's so interesting that you bring up this idea of the unwillingness to step outside of the comfort zone and to be experimental and fun.
One particular show got me thinking. It was maybe an hour long, about like Black joy, Black bodies, Black leisure, and things like that. And I was so surprised to hear afterwards that pretty much the whole performance was improv. They had done like small practices about like how they wanted to move with each other and things like that. But when they got out into the CA Commons, it was just like, we're just going to see what we feel and make that the show. How often does that happen? And I'm going to just say a more traditional theater performing space.
When we think of improv in the performing arts theatrical space, it's a skill, it's a tool that you use. And I mean, actually, even speaking about the improv community is different than speaking about the acting community when you talk in Chicago. Even we have these interesting silos. I'm super loose. I come to a room and I'm like, this is the box that we need to work in. Like these are the confines of the story that we're telling, but like, let's play within it. And it's actually a lot wider than folks let it be most times. We talked about your visual art background, of course. What sparked that interest in you?
I was lucky enough to grow up around the arts. It was never something I had to seek out because it was always there, because my mother's an artist. Probably like my late teen years was when I started understanding the art world outside of being an artist. So I started understanding that there are people who are curators and registrars and programmers and just a ton of different careers out there. Chicago, I think, is an incredible community, especially within like Black arts. I moved to Chicago in June of 2016, and by October 2016, I was already working with the collective in Little Village beauty breaks. I would say I started kind of professionalizing in my own way. I wasn't putting myself into a box. And also kind of getting into the programming aspect of visual arts, which I think is so important because it builds community. It allows for like a lot more nuances and like cultural understanding because you're there. It's like a more tactile experience.
Can we talk a little bit more about you as an arts curator?
My curatorial mission is heavily rooted in the Black Americas, those nuances in like being a Black woman or femme, queer Black spaces, poor Black spaces. Being a curator, in my opinion, identity comes into play a lot, and I think it should. I always approach it as trying to create a space and to create a story and a feeling. When I curate personally, it is always heavily personal. Like I want to create space and I want to create a moment, and I want to give space to people who are often overlooked. I think it's really important for me to like pull as many people along with me as I possibly can. And that's what I try to do with like every curatorial proposal I send out. I'm like, what artists can I bring into this that like maybe wouldn't be shown in this space, wouldn't be thought about for this topic.
I love what you said about kind of creating a story. Or that's what we forget, is that the goal of our art is to tell a story. Art is story. Art and story feel synonymous to me, you know?
I feel like the different practices in art are just different extra ways that artists have figured out how to create a story or tell a story.
I feel very comfortable in knowing that I am an artist. That is my job. That is what I do. I don't feel the need to go above and beyond to prove myself as an artist in this moment. I feel like some people feel like they may have to.
Your career isn't stagnant right now. It doesn't feel the way it normally would if you had 3 shows opening in the next couple months and you had this to do. It's just like a different way of being an artist, having a career. And I feel that too. I mean, like I had programming canceled real quick when things started shutting down. Like I felt that. So I understand the compulsion maybe to feel like you're still putting stuff out, you're still doing stuff. But I think that's also just a byproduct of the kind of society that we live in, where even if you're an artist or creative, you're still expected to be pushing work out. But if that's not your pace, don't try to manipulate it and twist it into something else so you feel like you're doing something still, which is a lot harder. It's a lot easier said than done. It's a fear reaction maybe, which I understand because things change very quickly. But I think for some people, it's just going to be a time for them to reflect on themselves and be like, what does success in my career actually mean? I mean, we've talked about projects that we want to put on next year already.
Right.
Projects we've been talking about forever.
Dope projects. Like,
Yes.
This is the moment. Like, get ready, folks, because you're not ready. You're not.
If you're not someone who's going to go into the digital space, continue to plan, continue to do whatever you do, but also know that like you're still an artist, you're still a creative, you're still a curator, a programmer without consistent output.
How is the visual arts world responding to this moment?
There seems to be like a big focus on getting intimate with people. You're getting to hear these people speak in a way that you wouldn't be able to if you were in like the giant auditorium at the Art Institute or something like that. My show closed with a virtual tour up the next week, which is good for both like this particular time, but also incredible for accessibility. So having all this digital content makes it so much more accessible and allows for so much more cultural absorption that people most people would not have gotten before. I'm also seeing this time as like a really interesting shift generationally. You're going to see like Gen Z artists, programmers, curators really be able to take off because like they are more digitally inclined than even we are, you know. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's going to be a boom of like very young artists being able to create work and get their work out and like innovate in ways that like people who are our age, who are 40, 50, 60 aren't able to do because we don't think like that, you know?
You are giving a sermon right now. I am here like, yes.
If you would have told me in 2000 that we would have like video calls and like I could get them, I'll be sick and tired of it. I wouldn't have believed it because it's exhausting.
What are the 3 things you've watched that you're like, you need to know about this right now?
I'm late, but Snowfall. I finally watched Parasite, and after watching Parasite, I watched Border. It's pretty much a slightly alternative universe where there are trolls. They look very similar to us, but it's really interesting.
I don't know about you, but trolls that kind of look like us kind of sounds like America right now. Anyway, thank you so much for being here.